Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Merry Christmas, all. We are covering the ultimate in Christmas movies today with a super huge cast. See like how I'm doing that? If you're a video watcher, you should be a video watcher. Before we start, I want to ask you all a favor for Christmas for us. If you're watching this on YouTube, go down and hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up. That helps us out innumerably. When you click it, I'm not saying it will happen, but a light could come down and it could change your life. You win the lottery. Good stuff could happen if you press it. Is anybody buying this at all?
It's all true. It's all true. That's how the internet works.
And if you don't, then you'll be visited tonight by Bly's, Todd, and Dub.
All of whom are very scary.
Yeah. You don't want any
starting
of that.
off with a threat. Right on. My kind of show.
Yeah, we are going to be discussing all things A Christmas Carol. That includes Scrooged, Mickey's Christmas Carol, the books, who is it?
Muppet.
The Muppet one, all of them. There's like a million of them. So the comic books, the playoffs. So this is going to be a fun show. I am looking forward to this one. This will be Christmas in a nutshell. Hey, Christmas in a nutshell. That was so bad. I'm sorry. Let me introduce the panel to us. First up, let me go directly below me. We have Mr. Bly's. Long time no see, bud.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's been a while since I've been able to jump on with you guys, but I'm excited for this show. It is, like you said, it's a huge part of Christmas, so excited to be here.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen you since we did that news episode like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I just did a time jump there. That's cool. Okay, now we have Miss Satomi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm super excited to talk Christmas Carol. It's near and dear to my heart.
I'm going to ask a question when we finish this. Okay, because I just thought of it. But okay, and then we have the voice of the show himself, the only man that has been on every single episode of I Heart Geek, whether he's here or not. How are you doing, Todd?
Very well, Wendell. Great to see you. Great to see everybody here. It's been quite a while since I've been a panel member, and it's kind of groovy to be back.
Yeah, nice schedule change and stuff. Okay, and right next to me we have Mr. Sean and his magical beard. How are you doing, bud? And how is your beard, more importantly?
I am well, but my beard is festive.
It's festive. Yeah. I was hoping you'd have like glitter in there or something today.
No. But you can't smell it because we don't have smell-o-vision. But I actually put in my eggnog conditioner. So my beard smells like eggnog.
Nice.
So it smells like rum?
Try.
Yeah, rum in it. Rum. Why the rum?
Why the rum? Why is all the rum gone?
Because
it went in the eggnog.
I love it.
Okay, and Sean, we have a new face on the panel. Can you talk about our new face we have on the panel?
Absolutely. We're very, very fortunate to have a multi-talented polymath with us. Kate is a singer, performer, writer, actor, and is a fan and an aficionado of all things Christmas. So I figured it was a good person to have on the panel with us.
Hello.
So, Kate, actually, I want to ask you right off. I've heard you have some special qualifications to be on this episode. Why?
Yeah, I don't know that there could have been a better episode for me to come on and talk about. I love Christmas and A Christmas Carol, but I've been in A Christmas Carol on stage quite a number of times. I have done ensemble, but more often than not, I played the Daisy Duck role, normally known as Belle or Isabel. that Daisy Duck role. Yeah. So that character is very near and dear to my heart, that character specifically. Nobody usually knows who that is, but yeah, I've been in A Christmas Carol quite often, seen many, many versions. It's a tradition, and I love to talk about it.
Nice. So let's start off the beginning of this. It has been A Christmas Carol has been universally remade in every single medium. There's basically been rock operas about it. There's been books. It started with a book. There's been cartoons, Muppet movies, comedies, horrors, CGI, freaktacular things. I mean, and even throughout the entire year, you will see homages to A Christmas Carol what makes this so special? Let's start with you, Sean. What makes this so special that people keep flocking to it?
I think that the themes are timeless. I think, and we can get into what those are, but I think that it's just one of those things where there isn't a person alive who doesn't have some element of this story that resonates with them,
Mhm.
And I think that because it runs the gambit. It doesn't matter what phase of your life you're in. There's some experience that you can draw on, because he goes back to his youth. He go, and I
Yeah.
think that that's what it is. Is I think that um, I think we see ourselves in a little bit in every one of them. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, even in Scrooge a little bit. So,
Well,
or in some people's case, a lot.
I'm going to make a case later that I don't think Scrooge is as bad as we've vilified him to be. We'll talk about this later. Yeah, I know.
He's the true hero of this story.
Well, technically, yes.
The underdog.
He's a forced hero.
He's a forced hero.
Unlikely hero.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
that's exactly the word.
I'm not saying Scrooge was a good person, but I'm saying that Scrooge was definitely, by many standards. I mean, yes. I mean, how often do we all walk past homeless people and not give them anything and avoid at all costs? That was a Scrooge thing that we all, oh, Scrooge, you jerk. We all do it every day. How often do we? Well, I gave at the office and you didn't, but.
I'll be honest with you. Most of the time, I believe in giving alms to all who ask for it. So in most cases, unless I am unable, I actually don't do that.
Hey, Sean,
Just
got
saying
$10 I can borrow?
Yeah, absolutely. if you are in need, absolutely.
He's not in need, Sean. He's not in need at all. No.
He's in want.
That's right.
You see all these guitars back here?
Ignorance and want. See what I did there?
Y'all jerks. So tell me, what about you? Why do you think this is so universally?
I mean, I completely agree with Sean. I just going a little bit deeper into it. We all love a redemption story. So many stories that are told are redemption stories. But I think there's something about um, being able to see, everybody wants to be able to see their life sort of spread out before them. And if I do this, what will happen then? And there's sort of this particular story is the what if I could draw the lens out
Mm-hmm.
and see where my path is taking me, and then what if I could change it and be the person that I want to be. I mean, when you look at all of the characters in the story, everybody, especially because it's Christmas time, it's a time to strive to be the person that you would want to be, and you see that in the generosity of
Mm-hmm.
the characters who might not be that generous. I mean, I'm talking about the non-Scrooge
Yeah.
characters who might not be that every year. And then, of course, to be able to finish it up with redemption and forgiveness and most of all, acceptance, because we've all made mistakes.
I love that,
And-
Satomi.
Wow,
'cause I also
Satomi.
think, yeah.
I don't think
You got-
anybody's
you
going
got
to
the
top
feels?
that one.
No, I love that because
Yeah.
she's so right, because it touches on the classic themes and the other greats like It's a Wonderful Life, Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause,
Oh,
Die
stop. Stop.
Best of all the Santa
But
Claus.
no, like sincerely, Satomi, I think that's wonderful, because as you were talking, I thought about It's a Wonderful Life, and I was like, oh yeah, it's such a classic theme.
Yeah.
I think my heart just grew 3 sizes plus 2.
Now it's almost as big as Blythe's.
It's about that big.
Oh.
It's still that big. Todd, what about you, bud?
Redemption.
Redemption. Because
That's what
everybody
the
needs
story's
it.
about. That's what the story's about. Scrooge is editing. Scrooge is not a very nice guy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. He's just about as vile a person as they could represent. And it just, the entire story is about supernatural beings showing him the errors of his way and what could have been, and
Yeah.
turning him around. It's about accountability and, again, redemption,
Nice.
living up to oneself.
Very good. Kate, what about you with your learned background in Christmas Carol?
Well, I think everybody is pretty spot on, but I'll add to that. I think that the themes of humanity being this source of redemption and hope and joy is part of what makes it timeless too. And
Yeah.
that I think part of what we all love so much about Christmas itself is that it's in the winter, during this time when everything outside is cold and dark, and we all come together under the glowing lights and the warmth of the fire. We come together in order to bring joy to each other's lives. And I think that what we see in Scrooge is redempted. Did I almost just say redempted?
Redeemed.
Redeemed. Thank you. I can speak. So he is redeemed in the end, of course, but it's what we realize is it's through humanity, it's through closeness. And I think that underlying theme of as humans, that's what we need in this world is each other. And that's how we find our source of joy in this world. I think that's part of what we connect to.
Very good. And
Living up to one's potential.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Blythe?
I love
Top
you,
it,
Blythe.
dude.
So-
Top it.
Okay, so you're all right in regards to the themes and why it resonates with so many people, but I would also comment on the fact that this story probably it's another one of the cases of right time, right places when the book was written. Because this was probably one of the first original Christmas stories that didn't have to do with Santa Claus, with all the different types of Christmas folklore as you have it. And now it has integrated itself. Like you said at the beginning, Dub, there's no medium that this story hasn't touched.
Yeah.
So even if you tried to avoid the Christmas Carol, you could not.
Oh, no.
And it is a virus. It infects your mind. It digs its claws
It's
deep
a
into your
parasite.
psyche.
Parasite is what you're saying.
But it resonates with so much because it touches so many people. There's not one person on this planet that this story has not touched in some way.
Nice.
I've never in my life heard the Christmas Carol described as a virus.
It's begun to infect other forms
awesome,
of media.
Blythe.
It's spreading quickly.
Well,
We need Blythe is our antivirus.
He's the vaccine.
That's right.
So let me add to what you guys said is all 100% correct, but I want to add to something that no one ever looks at, especially considering the geek culture that we all like to survive in, is the fact of how rebootable it has been, keeping the same theme, doing everything right, and you can change characters, you can change everything else, but the story stays the same. This is what every comic book writer and all these movie people need to watch. This is how you reboot things to make it your own and keep the same heart of the story. Because every telling of a Christmas Carol is definitely somebody else's take on it. But they've done such a great job about always keeping the heart of it. And when people like to gripe about, why are they killing my childhood and remaking this? This is the lesson that we all need to take, is this is how you do it every time. And I don't know if it's just how the story was written, but it's like you can't make a bad reboot of it, except the FX version. I'm just kidding.
Actually, the animated one with Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
not so good.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bill Murray
basically
the
what you're
story
saying-
was still fine. The story
what
was
you're
still
saying
fine,
is that
but
we
it's
should
just
all-
the movie.
We should all respect the ghost of Christmas Carol, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Not bad, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice.
All right. Well, my work here is done.
I'm waiting for one of your facts there, Sean. Okay,
Oh, it's coming.
Encourage
Don't you
him.
worry.
Don't encourage him.
next question I got to ask. What was your first experience with A Christmas Carol, and how did it affect you? We're going to go all the way around the screen. Start with Sean. Go ahead. Your first version that you fell in love with A Christmas Carol, and how did it affect you?
My first experience was I was visited by 3 ghosts.
Sean will show himself out.
That's right. That's right.
He's got to tip his waiter.
That's right.
He's gonna try the meal.
So I would say that, like many other people in my generation, our first introduction to opera was the Figaro episode of Bugs Bunny. And so it's
True.
going to be a cartoon was my first exposure to it. So it was the Disney was the first one that I remember, and I remember it being wonderful and magical. And
Yeah.
there's I kind of love this idea of when we're young, and I'm going to sound so curmudgeon-y right now, and I don't mean to, but when we're young, there's a magic quality, like a mysticism to Christmas that you lose when you're older. It's
Mhm.
still wonderful and enchanting and beautiful, but it doesn't have the same grip on you as when you're young, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that
And it
when I,
shouldn't.
yeah, I think when I watch that, I feel like I can recapture a bit of that, especially when I watch someone else watch it. Like I think about the moments that I really feel that sensation comes back is like watching my nephews open presents and things like that,
Mhm.
you know? So I think that part of the reason that that one's still so important to me is because I can come. It's not my favorite version anymore, but it's the one that definitely recaptures that sense of magical, Christmassy childhood
Nice.
goodness. You know, I get that warm, gooey center.
So tell me, what about
Nice.
you?
Um, well, first of all, I love what Sean just said about recapturing that magic of
I'm going to
Christmas.
make Sean go last from now on because everyone wants to copy what Sean says.
Well, I mean, to this day, I'm still always looking to recapture it, and I, my fellow actors will say we kind of train ourselves in allowing ourselves to return to that childlike wonder. So, I mean, I'm the first one in line at Macy's to go sit on Santa's lap, and
But it was Fabio
asking,
being Santa Claus, so it's one of those things.
actually, real Santa goes to Macy's. Just gonna say that. In in
That's
Herald
next week.
Square.
That's next week's
That's
episode.
next week. So now I actually my dad had me quite late, so I grew up watching the reruns of his favorites, and one that remains one of my favorites is the Reginald Owen version. There's a
That's the black
lot
and
of
white
old
one?
black and white. Well, I was about to say there's a ton of them,
Oh,
and
really?
some of them are terrible. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's at least four of them that you can find, and some of them have been the word that I can't think of that makes it kind of updated so you can see it better,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
Redigitized.
did well,
Remastered.
not that
Remastered.
remastered. Thank you. There's a British one. There's a bunch of British ones. So there's a whole bunch of them, and I have very mixed feelings about most of them. But the Reginald Owen one, for some reason, maybe that it's because that was my first one, just still speaks to me to this day. Now I have my favorites now, but you know, I've always been into ghosties and anything supernatural and anything magical, and so you know, just just love that. It's regaining that magic.
Before we move on, just because you said that, I highly recommend the Gregory Maguire take on this. I believe it's called Mirrored. If you ever read a Gregory Maguire book, he did Wicked. He does retelling of fairy tales. But
It's called Lost.
Lost.
That book.
Thank
It's
you.
Lost. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, but that's a really good take on what Stone was talking about with the ghosts and all that, and it's a completely different telling. So you're not getting a Christmas Carol per se, but it's definitely, just because you said that with the ghosts and all that, you might definitely want to check that book out.
Yeah.
So, Blythe, what about you?
I do have to quickly say that, like, I have to appreciate this moment because it was awesome. Our tech guy, like, remastered. He was like, "Is this amateur hour? What's going on here?" It was so brilliant. Just looked down, and it was just like we offended his very Christmas soul. His
We
heart
did.
shrank 3 sizes in this episode.
And you can speak to that, Blythe, and then answer your question. He can't figure out how to unmute himself.
Or not.
Yeah, leave it to
Leave it to the tech guy.
leave it to
Tech guy.
Dub to say redigitized.
I said digitized.
This guy. But yeah, my first experience was probably Muppets Christmas Carol. As far as I can remember.
When you were 1 and that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. But yeah, I think just to kind of piggyback off of what Sean said, is that he's completely right. I think you lose some of that magic when you get older. But I have to say, having a child and getting to have him start to experience. Right now, I mean, he's only 6 months, so it's hard for him to really experience anything, but to plan on him growing up and seeing all these different versions of the Christmas Carol and seeing him get excited about it, because I mean, I hope that he would get excited to see like the Muppets and the Disney version and things like that. That's what I'm really looking
Then you're
forward
going to
to.
ruin
And,
them all for him.
oh, I'm
Yes,
going
he
to
will.
ruin it.
Yeah.
Every single moment of
And
that's
why his son will be a DC fan and hate all things Marvel. It's
Nah.
going to be fantastic. Yep, that's going to happen. What about you, Todd?
Probably, and again, Sean can understand me on this one. It's a generational thing. My first experience with the actual story was, I believe, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. That was in the 60s.
That was a great one, honestly.
Yeah. It was harmless. It really didn't follow the story, but what the heck. After that, of course, was the 1984 blockbuster with George C. Scott.
Yeah.
Unbelievable cinematography, acting, everything. And that one, I mean, I was in 84, I was, just graduating high school. So I was 17 or 18. And, honestly, America was a lot more innocent back then.
Yeah.
It resonated very well, and it's always stuck with me. There's been stuff ever, remakings since, but that's the one that really stuck with me the most.
Very good. Kate?
So, like a couple of others, it was a cartoon that I was first introduced. It was Mickey's Christmas Carol, and I must have been very, very young, but I remember it. And then this became a tradition. My family would watch it every single year, so it became one of those very special Christmassy things that I look forward to. And then when I started acting, it was in a musical version, and so I was introduced to many of the musical versions, which I fell in love with. And then at one point, when my son was 6 years old, we got to be in a stage version together. And so I was reintroduced to what the story can mean to young people. Yeah, I was Daisy Duck and he was Tiny Tim. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So Mickey's Christmas Carol. Nice. Short answer. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm actually going to mirror all that because although I'd seen a lot of versions, I never cared until the Mickey's Christmas Carol. Now I had it in the VHS tape, and it had like 5 different quote unquote Christmas stories before it. It had like Goofy learns how to ski, and a Donald Duck one that was in the snow. But I went and watched it on Disney Plus 2 days ago, and I was disappointed because I watch it and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I love the Christmas Carol, but it didn't have those shorts beforehand. I'm like, oh,
gotta pay extra for that, Deb.
No, it's Disney Plus. It's all there. You just have to find it. But it's funny how, that first version that we fall in love with, it's no matter what, it's the right version, Technically what was on Disney Plus was the right version, but that was, it was just kind of it was interesting. And I still enjoy it a lot. I think that is one of the best short form versions of Christmas Carol, period. Next to we'll get to that later because we got to jump on because we have a metric poop ton of feedback and we're gonna have Courtney.
Yes, we do.
Courtney, join us right now and tell us about our feedback.
And now let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
It's your Miss Geeky Page, and I'm just popping in with your listener feedback. Our question would: what is your favorite version of A Christmas Carol, and why? We had a ton of answers, and I mean a ton, or as Deb likes to say, a metric poop ton. So I'm not going to be able to read everybody's, but if you wrote in, thank you so much, and keep them coming. We had amazing answers. So the first one up is Mark Prince, and he said the Alistair Sims version. And why was he said that Alistair so lives in the character for sarcasm to dread, then to be elevated to the appearance of madness, because he's so overjoyed with Christmas on Christmas morning. Many British movies of the day were so definitively bad from sound and lighting that this production was almost perfect in its production value. Lon McPherson says Scrooged. We had actually quite a few of you said Scrooge, so we appreciate that. Lon says it's a satirical look at a modern man's quest to be successful and yet not be a wanker or a jerk. What gives you life? What you give life, life gives you back. In Scrooge, a case is a little bit more forceful. And he mentioned his favorite line, which I can't read long because it has a dirty word in it, and we do family friendliness here. Sorry. Jason Gatney also said Scrooged, and a lot of it had to do with it perfectly captures the 80s obsession with the over-the-top violence, especially the Santa's workshop under siege by terrorists, with only the $6 million man Lee Majors able to save him. Our own Golden Pipes, Carnell Johnson, said Muppets, hands down, because it covers all ages and tells the story in a way that anyone can enjoy it. The early versions are very dated and can't keep attention spans unless you grew up with them. Scrooge, while a great film, again can easily get lost on a younger generation. The Muppets have stood the test of time. I really like that answer. Danielle Ariana says Mickey's Christmas Carol. I agree with you on that one. It's pretty good. She has vivid memories of watching it on Christmas Eve growing up, and honestly, every year for as long as she can remember. It's short and sweet and still manages to convey the important message from the story. And let's do one more because I want to. Oscar Vlad Rivas also says he likes the Disney version, but he likes the Disney version with Jim Carrey, directed by Robert Zemeckis, one of his favorite directors and one of his favorite actors, and animated so absolutely beautiful. It's also the first version he watched in the theater, so it holds huge sentimental value. Second place would be Mrs. Scrooge with Cecily Tyson in it. And Dino, who gave us like 6 answers, Dino, I appreciate it, but I'm only going to pick one. And it's the George C. Scott version. That's my favorite too, Dino, so I completely agree. He said it scared the crap out of him when he first saw it when he was 9 years old. I love it because it is actually the most close to the novel or the novella by Charles Dickens. So there you go. Thanks everybody for all your great listener feedback, and everybody I didn't read out loud, thank you, and please keep posting, and maybe next time I'll get you in. Bye, rock stars.
Okay, so thank you everybody so much for your feedback. That it helps us out so much, and we love it. And I'm hoping the golden light shone down, and you get to live the days of Christmas every year. You like that, huh? Wrong movie, but we'll take it.
I was soundtracking the glowing light for them.
Very, very quick. Before I ask you this question to piggyback back on the listener feedback, is the Grinch just another version of Scrooge?
I think it's in the same wheelhouse. I think, just like we were saying earlier with
it was borrowed.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I think it's a similar theme.
Yeah,
Similar
absolutely.
theme, but it's not a similar construct.
And Blythe wants to be the dissenting opinion.
There's no ghosts. It's not the same. Just because you got a cranky guy in Christmas, don't make it the Christmas story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I think the Grinch is its own original idea. I mean, I guess you could relate Scrooge and the Grinch as being two people who are cranky and crotchety at the holiday season, and then
all year
the other people make them
Would you
happy.
say that he was haunted by his past?
No.
Dun, 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 dun.
Jim Carrey version, he definitely was.
Not. I mean, but that's you have to make up story. I'm talking about original version.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's a recap.
I think it's borrowed.
I think it's in the same theme.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's
vein.
borrowed because stories.
It's in the same vein. It's redemption again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, which honestly is probably the best Christmas story you can have because solstice happens. It's the longest night of the year. All that. So this is the time that people are looking back at their dark past and want to rebirth and redeem.
Mm-hmm. There are so many stories that have that theme, that are not Christmas stories. Hook.
Yeah.
we can name a whole bunch of them. And
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Sorry, I had to do
I
it.
think
That was for you,
redemption.
Jason.
The Lego Christmas special when Palpatine was falling and they said, "I was a bad person." That's redemption right there.
Yeah, I think Satomi's right. I think redemption in general is just a storytelling trope in itself, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really make it so that the Grinch is another kind of rendition of the
Sure.
Christmas Carol.
But I think it's probably the most, honestly, as far as storytelling goes in the masses, I think that's probably one of the most important stories to tell, though. I think that's what people need more than most other stories. There's stories that we're going to
Which
learn about
story is
ourselves,
that?
but I think the redemption is the important one because that's what makes people want to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So, empathy. Okay, so piggybacking on our listener feedback, what is your guys' favorite version? Make it quick, and we're going to start with Kate this time. What is your favorite version of A Christmas Carol?
Okay. My favorite version of A Christmas Carol is a musical version done a couple years ago starring Kelsey Grammer as Scrooge. The music is beautiful. It's very magical. Let's see. We had Jason Alexander as Marley. They have fun songs. Yeah. Jennifer Love Hewitt played Daisy Duck.
Not so ooh.
Yeah. But the version as a whole is my favorite. Yeah. I cry every time. It's beautiful.
Nice.
Very good. Todd?
Well, as much as the 1984 George C. Scott version affected me, my all-time favorite is still Scrooged. Bill Murray, just masterful. That's all I got.
And I got to say this: that the Bill Murray version, that is when I discovered how brilliant Bill Murray was. I mean, Caddyshack was great and all that. That is where I said, "Oh my gosh, this is genius. This guy can do no wrong." Blythe, okay, give your. You like the version where everyone dies at the end. Okay, go ahead, Blythe.
The FX version, I think, is as you put it.
The Pulp Christmas.
No, my favorite is... Oh, boy. My favorite is the Muppets. Muppets Christmas Carol. You really can't go wrong with the Muppets. Anything that those...
You can. But
you can.
Did you see that last series they put out?
Yeah, it was great.
Wasn't that Michael Caine as Scrooge in that one?
Yeah, he was, and he did great on it.
And you know what that
Fantastic.
showed me? He was a great Scrooge, but Michael Caine cannot sing.
Satomi?
I actually disagree with you, Blythe. I was not a fan of the Muppet version. Had charming stuff in it, but we could talk about that later. I have 3 because of the different mediums. I kind of have 4. Theatrically speaking, I'm a big fan of one-man Christmas carols, and I am particularly fond of. I saw Patrick Stewart's years ago, and then recently you can stream now. Jefferson Mays doing a brilliant version, stage production. One man plays all the characters. It's incredible. Television is got to be the Doctor Who Matt Smith Christmas Carol
that was a good one. I forgot
episode.
about that one.
Even though fish that swim in the air, whatever. I was ugly cry for that one. And then movie, I've got to agree with Todd and so many of our listeners. Scrooged is my jam.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So many facets to it, huh?
Oh gosh, and anything with Alfre Woodard in it, I'm on board.
I'm kind of the same way with Bobcat Goldthwait.
That's kind of the only thing I don't like about that movie, but that's just me.
Oh, I thought he was so good.
I hate him.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
Oh gosh.
Sean?
Well, I will say that Scrooged was very much a runner-up for me. And it's The Ghost of Christmas Past. She's I'm blanking on names.
Carol Kane.
Carol Kane, thank you so much.
So brilliant in that.
Brilliant, yeah. And then, of course, I mean, Bill Murray is my comedic standard for genius. Just like the guy's, he's so comedically untouchable. He's so good. But I'm with Blythe. It was Muppets. I love the Muppets. So I think that it's one of those cases where I thought it was a great movie. It could have been awful and I probably still would be saying Muppets because Muppets. And also my favorite Muppet is not one that's commonly used. It's Clueless Morgan and he's in it. And so I love that too.
Who does he play?
Nice.
He's one of the he's just one of the people in the streets that's asking for money. He's the yak.
I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
mine is everyone says Scrooged, and yes, that's probably it. But since no one else said, I'm going to take the Mickey Christmas Carol.
Mhm.
It really did concrete my love for all these Disney characters that you don't see all the time, like Pete and the Mole and
Mm.
all the guys from the Headless Horseman. I mean, everybody was in that movie, just playing these bit parts all over the place.
Yeah, it was funny. Kate was pointing that out to me the other night about like all the different cameos, like
Yeah.
Fezziwig, and being Mr. Toad and things like that. And yeah. Why yours, Ebenezer?
With the big cigar, and
Yep.
these have been characters that have been around since 1940 something or whatever. And I mean, it just really it makes me feel really good, and that's really what I want. The Christmas Carol, at the end of it, I want to feel good.
It's pretty nostalgic, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but like the FX version, I watch it and I don't feel good. I'm just like, there's the nostalgia, but there is the like Sean was saying earlier, that time that you get to be a kid again, which is all about being a geek. You get to be a kid for that half hour that you're watching that, and that's why I like it. So on a personal level, let me ask this one. This is kind of a weird question, but out of all the spirits, which one would you want to be visited by because you feel speaks to you the most? Let's start with Kate again on that one.
Okay. My favorite Christmas spirit is definitely the spirit of Christmas past, because there is something about the nostalgia of going back and realizing everything that, would you want to do it again? Would you want to relive that? And I think that every time I watch A Christmas Carol, that is the part that speaks most to me. And even as Scrooge is ready to move on, you still have to deal with that. And I think that speaks to this part of all humanity. I believe that we often think about on our deathbed, what are we going to look back on and regret? And, even as we live our day-to-day lives, these are things we reflect on. So Christmas past for sure.
Very good. Todd?
Nice. I think I can speak for everyone when nobody wants to be visited by the ghost of Christmas future, because
you might if you're not Scrooge. It might be better.
For me, in pretty much every permutation of this story, it's the ghost of Christmas present. In Scrooged, it was that crazy Carol Kane hit him with a toaster, dude. In the one with George C. Scott, it was played by a huge golden colored guy in a Santa suit, and he was giving, and he had food and drink and boisterous, but he also had hope and despair under the folds of his jacket.
I hated that part.
It's a part with a lot of humanity, but not a lot of mercy.
Yeah,
appeals to me. So
very good.
Ghost of Christmas present.
Nice. Blythe?
I promise I'm not saying this just because Todd said something about it, but
yes, he is.
Mine is definitely the Ghost of Christmas Future. Just to be able to take a glimpse into one's future and see what is to come. And in the Christmas Carol universe, you can actually take that information and make changes better if you need to. Who's to say any of us, the future is looking as bleak as Scrooge's is, but if there is something that you would want to change, you are able to go back to your present and you're able to make those changes to make your future that much better.
Nice.
Yeah, but with that one, you're kind of rolling the dice against death, man.
Yeah.
Well, you're rolling the dice, but I want to see that, is what I'm doing making a difference or is it not? And I think that's really I think that's what Blythe is saying, because I'd like to be able to look at the future, and if it's changeable, am I doing the right thing to make a difference, to live on past my death, or am I just in a hole? And I think that
don't fear the Reaper, man.
I just defended you, Blythe. Shut up.
I got a fever. The youngest person on the panel to quote an old rock song.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Cowbell.
Nice. So, Tommy, what about you?
I'm gonna get all deep on y'all. For me, it's definitely the Ghost of Christmas Present, because I feel like, the past is past, the future hasn't happened yet. If I can see how other people are living in, when we're not talking at each other, and really be able to see life from their perspective, I think it will promote understanding, so that B, as I make choices, how I deal with someone who maybe has different views from me, maybe my deeper understanding of them will affect the future positively. And just being here, being now.
Yeah, very good. Sean? It's going to make you
Yeah.
go last now.
Nice. No, I'm definitely Ghost of Christmas Present as well, and for a lot of the reasons that have been named. There's something wonderful and joyous about this big jolly man with the wreath around his head, offering all this food, and with this secret ignorance and want underneath this cloak. But I think that for me, the big reason that one resonates so much is because the moment is fleeting, and his life is fleeting. He lives for an instant and then he's gone. He has this night and that's it. And there's not a trace of sorrow in him. He just lives the little bit that he's given to the fullest, and he's joyful and friendly and giving and caring and warm. And I think that if I could aspire to be like anyone in that story, I would want to live like that. That I would live every moment to the fullest. That I would try to leave everyone I met stronger and more beautiful and fed. And I think that that's the thing that I relate to the most about him, is just that he's joyful in the face of this moment that's fleeting.
But Sean, there is another side to that blade. He is joyful and he is full of life, but he's also merciless.
Yes,
because he
true.
only has that instant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also has that. There's that moment in some of the tellings where he gets there's a certain amount of rage in him that becomes apparent. But yeah, that's
ruthlessness. Absolutely,
very good. Okay, and mine, I went way outside the box and I said Marley. For this reason, Marley's screwed no matter what. He's still, he wasn't necessarily a good person in life, but he's still, even though it wasn't going to affect what happens to him in eternity, he's doing what he's making an effort to help what his friend was.
And
without chance of reward.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that to me speaks.
In some strange way, that's his redemption in this story.
Yeah.
He gets this one moment of redemption to do this for his friend.
Yeah. And he's still gonna have to live with the chains, but he still he did what is the right thing. That is so. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our. Thank you. Let's move on to our main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, so for our main event today, I asked for a little bit of fan casting. As geeks, we love to do fan casting. So we are going to do our dream cast of your new version of A Christmas Carol. You're going to tell us what style / what medium it is, and we are putting in the following characters. You're going to cast Scrooge, Cratchit, Marley, Christmas past, present, and future. So let's start with you, Sean. What is your movie you are casting?
Well, I will say that I wound up coming up with two casts. So if we have a moment, maybe afterwards, if anyone else does too, we can double back around. But I'm going to go with my ultimate geeky one. I just went straight to the Geekverse and decided instead of casting actors, I wanted to do something a little different. So my Scrooge would be Professor X. Play, not that he is, but that he would play.
Kind of is.
Scrooge. And then my Cratchit would be Peter Parker. My Marley would be Ghost Rider because chains. My past would be Delirium from Sandman. My present would be Hagrid. And my future would be Destiny from Sandman because, giant cloak.
There's so many things I would
want
to add to that, but that is great.
Thank you. So if they did a comic book version and they were doing cameos, that's what we would do. So any geek fans that want to pencil that and put it on the page, I will call it and recite you a Christmas poem.
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
A poem.
A poem, everyone.
Poym.
That's right.
Get your hands off of my stack. So Tommy.
Well, I have 2 casts as well, but
Okay.
this is my comedy cast. We're going to
Okay.
start out with a screenplay by Ali Wong. And
Oh
Scrooge.
Lord.
So we know it's going to be a little attitude.
A little twitchy.
A little twitchy. Scrooge would be Steve Carell because I think
Ooh.
he's comedic.
Oh wow, that's
That'd be
good.
great.
And also has the dramatic chops to make it
Absolutely right.
sincere.
That's great.
Bob Cratchit would be Taika Waititi because I just think he's so likable. He's so dang likable and so dang funny. Marley just speaks back to the Ali Wong thing. I think Keanu Reeves because he's got that wonderful narcissistic thing about him, but he's not afraid of being ridiculous. And then for my ghosts, past would be Aquafina because I think she's freaking hilarious.
Fair enough.
Present would be Lucy Davis for those of you who are familiar with the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She's the jolly aunt who's just hysterical and so sweet. And future, our very own Missy from Doctor Who, Michelle Gomez.
Ooh, that's a good call.
And I think future should have some lines.
Very good.
In that case.
Blythe?
So mine is coming at you from the MCU, and that
I can't imagine.
Is going to be Scrooge is Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Cratchit is John Favreau, Happy Hogan. Marley, Chris Evans, Captain America. Christmas Past is Chris Hemsworth, Thor. Christmas Present is Mark Ruffalo, Banner, Hulk. And Christmas Future is Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. And I did the charity guys as Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh.
Christmas Future is Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. Bella, Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts. And Scrooge's nephew is Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner.
Nice.
Very good.
Nice.
Todd?
That's geek candy right there. That's awesome.
That is.
Okay. I'm going straight old school Hollywood here. Well, old school, not really, but blockbuster Hollywood, big names. Let's see. Ghost of the Future. No, let's leave that one for last. Ghost of Christmas Past, Bobcat Goldthwait. Ghost of Christmas Present, Michael Keaton. Ghost of Future, Christopher Walken.
He's recasting Batman.
And then he could be walking in a winter wonderland.
Okay, so Marley, John Levitt, no doubt about it. Scrooge, Gary Oldman.
Ooh.
And for Bob Cratchit, the one and only James Woods.
Very good.
You shut your mouth, Todd. That was so good. It should have been mine. The Gary Oldman was so good.
I didn't even cross my mind. That is so good.
Very solid casting.
Very good. Kate?
Interestingly, I have Gary Oldman as my Cratchit.
Nice.
Also very doable.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. So as my Scrooge for my perfect cast, I have Patrick Stewart, which I guess is kind of cheating because he's played Scrooge before. I just think he's brilliant. Yeah, he's wonderful as that. So he's my Scrooge. My Marley is Tim Curry. And I love Tim Curry, right? my past is Maggie Smith. I love what she would bring to that. My present is Whoopi Goldberg. And my Christmas future, actually, if time and space are not an issue, Burl Ives, I'd love to see as future.
Ooh.
And then
that would be a good switch around from the snowman.
And wear the bowler hat. Yeah.
This is flexible, right? So and then because she's my character, Daisy Duck, I put Ariana Richards. Again, if we don't have time or space, she was Lex from Jurassic Park, but she was like right around 20-ish. I think she had like a maturity to her acting that really would have been great for that role.
Very good. Nice.
It's great.
How often do we think if time and space was not an issue, we could do
every day?
I'll tell you too. I mean, let's be real. It is Gary Oldman, so I could do all of the parts as Gary Oldman, and you would never know. You'd never know. You'd be like, who are all these actors?
Nice.
I was just actually going to suggest, how about a Nutty Professor style movie where all characters are played by Gary Oldman?
Yep.
Well,
Mhm.
that's essentially the one-man Christmas Carol
Mhm.
that I
With
was
a
talking
cast
about
of
that people have been
billions
doing.
/1. History of the world. Every part is played by Gary Oldman. Okay, so my list goes for Scrooge. I'm going way. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be a horror comedy, a la Zombieland type feel. So funny but not. Okay, so my Scrooge is Neil Gaiman, who I think would bring something entirely different than no one's ever seen.
Mhm.
He's got the physicality for it too.
Yep.
Mhm.
For Cratchit, I put David Tennant because he can play just such a good victim. For Marley, I put Nick Cage.
You can see it.
Yep. For my Christmas past, I put Kat Dennings because I love her and I think she would be great in that role, and she could do something really different with it. For Christmas present, I said Bruce Campbell, Bow to the King, baby. And for Christmas future, one Iggy Pop.
Definitely has the physicality for it.
And has the look and has that voice.
Yeah.
That voice would be awesome. Okay, and I know Sean and Satomi had an extra one. Did anybody else have any extra ones? Nope. Okay, so Sean, let's hear yours.
No, go for it. Ladies first, of course, Satomi.
Make me feel like a pig. Okay, thanks.
Well, no,
You're
because he
getting
knows that
cold.
his is going to be better than mine. So, so this is going to be a dramatic screenplay by Neil Gaiman, directed by Jordan Peele. So we get a little of that spooky thing going. So Scrooge, I was thinking Andy Serkis, who is an incredibly versatile actor, and people don't. He's not just Gollum.
One of
we
the
saw him
best
in Black
actors of all
Panther.
time.
He's pretty fantastic, and his physical acting is pretty incredible.
Didn't he play Caesar as well in the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, he did. He did.
Yes,
he certainly
he did.
But I'm just saying, like beyond the CG acting, which is brilliant and brilliantly captured, he's a brilliant actor with, that people don't realize that they're seeing all of that underneath all of that CG. So okay, I'll stop singing the praises of Andy Serkis. Cratchit, Adam Driver, who I think brings an incredible vulnerability, but he's super big and lanky, which I think is a wonderful thing for that character. For Marley, Richard Coyle, who is Father Blackwood in the Sabrina series. He's also really sexy, ladies. For Ghost of Christmas Past, Tilda Swinton.
I love you, Tilda.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's amazing. Present, Lupita Nyong'o,
No
who I
idea.
think has just that wonderful warmth. You know who she is.
I probably know her if I
Black
see her.
Panther.
Okay, yeah.
She was the girlfriend. And future, and this might be because we've been doing Mandalorian, I think Giancarlo Esposito would be creepy as all get out.
I hate you for thinking of that, and I didn't.
Jealousy is a terrible thing, Deb.
Well, everyone's getting it today. It's all good.
I think you need a visit.
Can I? I can never sleep on Christmas Eve.
Maybe.
Sean?
All right, so I'm just going to dive right into this one because you're all going to know exactly where I'm going after the first one. So Scrooge would be PB. PB and Jason would be my Scrooge. Cratchit would be Codge, no doubt, undeniably, Cratchit is Codge. Yep. Mrs. Cratchit is Courtney because heart of gold, but also doesn't take any poop. Let's see. My Marley would be Blythe. Ghost of Christmas Past is Satomi. Ghost of Christmas Present is Dubs, but only if he wears the candle wreath head ornament.
I have no issue with that.
And then my Ghost of Christmas Future is Todd. And Todd, this was before I knew you were going to be on the show today. I had already cast that because let's be real, you've got the voice and you're the only one that would look good in a trench coat. So, or a cloak. And then I'll
wear that proudly.
Nice. And then for Tiny Tim, I have my beard.
God bless us, everyone. Oh, Great job, guys. This episode has been a blast. Yeah, I don't think we have anything really to hit today. We have some again, hit the subscribe and like, and that helps us out so much, and a light will shine down, and the ghosts of Christmas everything will come and give you a big warm hug. It'll be like Sean's face with that beard. It'll just feel like that all the time.
Group hug.
Exactly. It'll be wonderful. Yeah. So happy holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. Awesome. Keep on geeking on. We love you. And I am Dub. I'm here with Kate and Sean and Satomi and Blythe and Todd. Keep on geeking on, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Hello, our Geek Rock Stars. I'm Satomi Hoffman with I Heart Geek, and we heart you. And I'm going to tell you about a way that you can heart us back. So here's the deal. I Heart Geek has just launched our Patreon page. This is a chance for you to help us with production costs and help us keep bringing these podcasts to you. Not a lot of people know it. We don't make any money making this podcast, but we do it because we heart geek. We heart bringing it to you, and we heart obsessing over the things that you heart. So how do you become involved? Super simple. There are 4 tiers of support. The first tier of support is only $3 a month, about the price of a cup of coffee if you don't go to Starbucks. And we will love you like we love Baby Yoda, except for Blythe, who doesn't feel the Baby Yoda love, which... So now tier 2 is $5 a month, which now we're talking like a drip coffee and a cookie. And for that, we'll display your name during the show and also put you in the end credits. Name recognition, y'all. Now tier 3, $10 a month. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. We will actually take your suggestions and we will put them in the rotation of the show. So whatever you obsess about, which we already probably obsess about, we will obsess about on air. All right, now we're talking tier 4. We're talking the Triforce Excalibur Infinity Gauntlet level of subscription. $20 a month will get you as a regular rotational cast member on the show. We'll have you come on, we'll discuss the things that you heart, the things that we heart, we'll argue, we'll laugh, we'll have a great time, and you will have made I Heart Geek better for your subscription. And of course you can tell all your friends, hey, haha, I'm on a podcast. So there you have it. 4 easy ways to help I Heart Geek become a listener-supported podcast, and you get something in return. We heart you, we thank you, we heart geek, and remember to keep on geeking on.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the I Heart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.